Hello, Emma Eastwood here. For my journal club, I have chosen to analyse two sources, Tritt's Dispatches from the Trenches of America's Great Gun Trust Wars and Sherman's Reducing Gun Violence, What Works, What Doesn't, What's Promising. In this short 5-minute presentation, I will cover the theme around these two articles, why I chose them, the connections and differences between the two, why they are useful, and how it influences my research. The theme around both articles is America's gun control, which is a hot topic the last couple of days following the Oregon College massacre. I chose Tritt's and Sherman's articles because, although I am focusing on Australia's gun policies, I thought these two articles give a good insight to what Australia may have been like pre-gun policy and the arguments that may have arose. The differences between these articles lie in their approach. Sherman looks at gun control through quantitative literature, whereas Tritt looks at it purely from a legislative analysis. Despite these differences, they complement each other quite well. Sherman's literature is transferable to Tritt's legislative arguments. For example, Tritt highlights in American Gun Control Act 1968 there are two titles of firearms. Title I includes legal firearms such as handguns, and Title II includes restricted firearms such as hand grenades. Tritt argues this second title poses a greater threat to the safety of Americans, though this category is rarely exercised in gun violence. This links well with Sherman's arguments about implementing ammunition control, a one-bullet-a-month law. If Title I with handguns is the cause of public concern, which largely arose after assassinations of John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr. and Robert Kennedy, then regulating Title I firearms without restricting use may be the happy medium America is seeking. These two sources are useful and valuable to my research as they connect links across the literature I have assessed thus far, specifically in regards to Australia's gun policy. For example, both Tritt and Sherman's articles highlight the changes and trends of firearm use in America, which links to the Baker and McFedrin argument of regularly updating the evidence base as new data becomes available to consolidate statistical information and to clarify any changes in firearm deaths over time. Furthermore, this links to a recent interview Howard did where he argues that it will do not harm to revisit the legislation and to keep a better eye on the illegal importation of firearms. There should be measures in place to regularly revise policies as technological changes change the demands of the policy. To introduce another buyback scheme, however, means the government accumulating evidence focusing on substance and merits and to convince the public. These articles significantly affected my research in many ways, the first being methodology. There were 4 questions that arose when reading these articles. Is the legislation effective? What were the motivations of the government? How was the policy administered? And is the legislation regularly updated? Australia's 1996 Firearm Act was administered quite seamlessly. The government had the balance right in regards to not over-arming police while making sure they are protected. More impressively, there were 10 mass shootings before Port Arthur, and since the introduction of firearm legislation, there have been none. US President Obama praised Australia in his condolence speech following the recent Oregon College shooting, stating, "We know that other countries in response to one mass shooting have managed to craft laws that almost eliminate mass shootings. We are the only advanced country on earth who sees these kind of mass shootings every few months." This is the second way in which these two articles influenced my research. The relevance and transferability to Australia provides my research with international standing and urgency. To recap on my journal club presentation, I have analysed two sources, Tritt's Dispatches from the Trenches of America's Great Gun Trust Wars and Sherman's Reducing Gun Violence, What Works, What Doesn't, What's Promising. I covered the theme around these two articles, why I chose them, the connections and differences between the two, why they are useful and how it influences my research. Thank you.